Welcome to the Classroom at Range Systems. I'm Beau lead instructor for defensive mindset training. We've gotten a lot of questions about what the Foundations class is, and I thought I would take you through a short overview of what a Foundations class looks like and some of the method to our madness. And if you have any other questions, we really like to answer questions. Feel free to give us an email at info@defensivemindsettraining.com, and we will do our best to answer your questions about this class or other classes that we're doing here at DMT. Foundations class runs in a 16-week rotation. What that means is that there are 4 blocks of 4 weeks of elements where we focus in on a particular topic for those 4 weeks. And we keep reviewing and going back into the other elements of the 4 blocks all the time. We're constantly redoing that. And especially as you've learned each one, you'll start re-hitting those as we hit the different blocks. And the classes themselves are designed that you can jump in whenever. So if the first week that you ever come and train with us on a Foundations class is week 7, that doesn't make any difference because of the design of the curriculum. That we design it so that people can get started whenever they are ready to get rolling with us. And then you just keep going. You keep working through this material all the way up until the point you've really mastered this material, you've deeply ingrained it, and then students can be invited to test out of Foundations class and move to the advanced class. The standards for the testing out are very straightforward, and we make sure that the students are ready to actually perform those skills at the standards that we want from our students before we invite them to test. When you come to test, it should be an afterthought that you're going to pass this. We've been watching you do these skills and perform this stuff for an extended period of time. We know what you've been doing. That's how the overarching content is designed. The way a class works is when you arrive, you would come into the space, and if you're carrying, which some of our students do carry, that's cool, you would walk and go to one of our clearing stations or go into the full tactical range where you would unload and clear your firearm. And usually what they'll do is they'll bring their holster back to the classroom where we will be set up to start to do the class. So there's no live weapons or ammunition inside the classroom space. While we're in here, we'll start with a vision training warm-up that'll always be up on a board or a screen of some sort so that you can see it. And that vision training warm-up is designed to connect your vision system with your balance system. And that'll improve our ability to engage in hand-eye coordination, which means more effective operation of the handgun. Then we'll start into a warm-up. And we do it dry fire. We use CERT for all of this. This is part of the reason I'm such a huge believer in CERT. I'm literally using it for 4 to 6 classes a week, every single week, and I've been doing it for more than a decade, and I get to see the results in all my students. It's a totally worthwhile product. You engage in that warm-up wherever you happen to be. So if you're an advanced person, we give you stuff that's harder. If you're more of a brand new person, we focus on the brand new stuff that you need to work on. But that warm-up will always be things like shooting fundamentals, working through the parts of the draw, developing your ability to engage in that 360-degree scan once your engagement downrange has been, and then starting to do some processing where you start to have to find things that are different or look for the one target that you actually can engage. We're starting to engage the cognitive with the unconscious application of drawing the firearm. And then we also add in something that's kind of unique to us. We call it stimulus training. And the idea with the stimulus training is we have to connect what you're doing consciously, you're thinking about it, to things that are unconscious, the procedural stuff, which is you're not thinking about it. And the only way to do that is to apply a little bit of stress. And we start doing stress in very, 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 very mild ways. So it's very, very straightforward. It may be a light is on and then you can shoot, or a light is not on and you can't shoot it. Maybe one of the targets is lit up somehow with a laser or a flashlight. That's the one you can gauge. Sometimes what will happen is the instructor will actually be in front of you. Because we're using the CERT, it is dry fire and there's no live fire in the classroom. The instructor will stand in front of you and draw at you with a CERT. Well, now all of a sudden you get used to seeing somebody drawing a firearm at you repetitively. That means by the time that my students are advanced students, they've been going through Foundations class for a year, they've seen somebody draw a gun at them hundreds of times. And that's a distinct advantage over a lot of people doing training who've never seen somebody pull a firearm on them. We're very, very used to doing this. Students are very used to having somebody pulling firearms at them, and they have to respond. They have to engage and deal with it. And that kind of stimulus training occurs during the warm-up. Once we're done with our warm-up phase, we come in, we have a seat, and we work through some knowledge and education. That knowledge and education is designed to help us build some of the softer skills in our defense. So things like situational awareness or post-fight things like 911 call and law enforcement response. We also do a little legal lesson every single class, which reminds you of what your legal rights and responsibilities are so that you're fully aware of your legal obligations as a responsible firearms owner. Once we do that, we move into a period of time where we're specifically focusing on whatever the firearm skill is for that particular 4 weeks of the 16-week cycle. For right now, as an example, as I'm making this video, the section that we're in is focused on the draw. And so we went and focused in on some really fine details about developing an effective defensive draw. And then we stand up and we practice it again, dry fire, focusing on those specific elements. And once we've spent our second period of time doing dry fire, now we'll do a safety briefing and we'll head to our full tactical range. Inside of the full tactical range, we get to do things in there, especially with the advanced students and in some of our seminar work, that you cannot do pretty much on any other range in the state of Minnesota, if not most ranges in the entire country. It's really amazing what it is that we get to do here. That opportunity for us allows us to build skills and build technique that you're supposed to have as a defender, but you can never actually practice. We actually get the opportunity and ability to practice it here. When we go and do live fire for Foundations class, everybody works to what their skill level is. So if you're brand new, I may have you just doing loading and unloading and basic shooting fundamentals. And if you're further along, like you're getting ready to test out of Foundations and move to advanced class, I may have 4 or 5 courses of fire lined up for you to really push your skills because you're getting ready now to test out from Foundations to go to advanced. That range space is a very, very comfortable one. People are always looking to try and help out each other. It's very community built. Everybody has a really great time. There's no yelling or shouting. Everybody's focused on the safety and the effectiveness of everybody around them. And everybody's looking to try to get the most out of themselves and the other students that are in the class with them. We will not shoot more than 50 rounds in a Foundations class. And on the average, it's more like 25 to 35 rounds for a Foundations class, because we're only going in there for about the last 20 to 25 minutes. And we're focusing specifically on something that had to do with what we were focused on that cycle of the 16-week rotation. So this is a Foundations class. It's really designed for shooters that they've barely ever touched a firearm, to I've done a permit to carry and I want to grow more, to yeah, I've done a little bit and I really have never had anybody look at me and really make sure that my skill level is there. Most people are in Foundations class for a year to a year and a half before they're ready to test out. And some people are in there a lot less. I have a couple of clientele that started in Foundations class that had a great, gigantic background. And when they came to Foundations class, we found a couple of problems. We helped them work them out. And within 3 Foundations class, I gave them an invite to come to advanced class. And that's where they've been running ever since. And some of the people that are qualified as advanced will come to Foundations to help work, again, those basic core skills that we're going to be working on as defenders carrying firearms for the rest of our defensive career. So if you have any questions, we love answering questions. One of the big things for us at Defensive Mindset Training is we want to try and have a why for everything. If you have a question about why we do a Foundations class the way that we do it, or the material that we're teaching, you can go ahead and reach out to us at info@defensivemindsettraining.com, and we'd be happy to try and answer your questions. So for Defensive Mindset Training, I'm Beau. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next Foundations class.